5:06.
And I'm the one who broke the record. So, yeah, so we've got a huge agenda today. And did Christie send out minutes? I really
Yes,
thought.
she did.
Okay. So do we want to try to, I think we've been not able to address some minutes recently. So if you want to try to approve those, that would be great. Joe, if you want
Motion
do
to
that.
approve the minutes.
There you go.
Second. Keith? Yeah. All right.
Who were those two people?
Me and Keith. Katie.
Katie and Keith.
Did you get those
Hi,
when you-
I'm Katie.
Yep, I got
Robert
it.
Mayer,
Hi, nice to meet you.
Rochester-Stockbridge.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
All right, so the family survey, if you remember, well, let's just go over it today and then we'll come back. So we're gonna try to finalize and approve the family survey. If you remember, the last time we met, which was actually a month ago, we got stalled on something. And my notes say question one, but I'll tell you the truth, I'm gonna have to we're gonna have to remind ourselves. I think I stalled on. And I just sort of called the question and said, let's go home, and because the family and staff survey is sent by touching a button on a computer as opposed to having to do postcards and those kinds of things. So that really needs to be taken care of tonight so that they can go out tomorrow,
Thank you.
or even tonight. Then, the faculty staff survey, and we have to figure out where we are with that. That's another one, and that needs to get going.
Thank you.
The original curriculum questions, and we did look at those that people asked, we decided as a group that were perhaps not the questions that matched the charge. So we kind of have to go back and think about that a little bit, about what we want to ask them. I think there's probably a fair amount of questions that are in the family survey that might be highly appropriate if we worded them a little bit differently for the staff. I think it's the same kind of information we're looking for from two different sort of inside perspectives. And then we'll get to the community survey. So the community survey, I hope you've been able to access responses. 58 is a great start, and part of what I'm looking for from everybody is to think about how might we consider putting out more information about it. Do we do it, not a second run of postcards, but Keith, you had talked about doing something in the Herald. Is it out, these things I don't know, is it out on Front Porch Forum, those kinds of things? Do we need a Facebook? Do we need another sort of push? And my suggestion is yes, you do, but how do we do that? Because the 58, I thought, what I've read, and I haven't read it all, but people are really thoughtful. That's really what we're looking for. And folks, by the amount of, when I looked at from the question of, are you well informed about what's going on in the legislature? It was hugely yes, which just meant you have a couple of communities that are really paying attention. And that's a really positive thing. So well, I have to get to that last because that's the juicy, fun stuff. And we got to get to some stuff first. So.
We don't have access to the results.
I can re-share it. You should
Like,
be able to, if you
Oh,
go,
in the shared drive?
if you go into the shared drive under
Gotcha.
surveys,
I did not go
right?
there.
It's the RSUD community survey, and then up top,
See at the top?
Yeah.
so it'll come up this way, right?
Okay.
And then if you go to responses, I've just been keeping it open to make sure it's like not being finicky.
And
It's my biggest worry that like something's not gonna work.
and if you hit link to sheets, you'll create a spreadsheet that we could all access. I don't think it would create
Oh, okay.
individual
Got it.
spreadsheets too.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
And
going to
then
need
it'll
everybody
populate it
to
as.
speak up because my ears are so plugged.
Yeah,
And
I didn't even
probably will
look,
be for days.
so it's nice to know we have that.
yeah. Sorry, I just went back to the family survey.
Good, because otherwise
keep
we would
us-
go down that rabbit hole
Yep.
and we're not gonna do it right now. So my notes say, and they're very brief, because I think I just thought I would remember this. Meeting wrestled with question 1, demographics, question mark, for the family survey. And this is the family survey.
Yes.
So what was question 1?
Well, I think the question was whether to include other demographics besides what town do you reside in and what school does your student attend? Like socioeconomic questions.
Yeah, and I had written demographics, question.
Yeah. Whether we feel like that's important or not.
Oh, whether to add that?
Right,
Well, you already asked what school your student
Right.
attends.
I think at one point, when we were doing all the drafts, we had like a range of like your household age and how much your
Right,
income
and there-
is.
and it was
So
a
was that
pretty-
something that was
Yeah.
important?
And it
I
was
think
pretty
that was where
black
she
and
gets-
white, people felt one way or the
Yeah.
other. Keith, you were
I heard
pretty
somebody filling it out
adamant,
today.
no.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
No, I bet.
And so we weren't really able to resolve it a month ago, and I don't know how people, I think that I probably started that mess, because we had used that in, what are the other times?
Bethel and I.
But they were looking, that was, their thinking about that was about, were answers to some of their questions, which are very different than yours, connected to, needs, because they were taxpayer type, questions. And where do you want to spend your money and how do we do it?
Excuse me.
Is lowering taxes the number one priority, or is it quality of education? So that was a big part of theirs, and that's how that all got started. So, but I think, that, your questions are really just more about, why don't we just flip through this real quick? Town you reside in, what school does your student attend, and then goes immediately to successful in creating a unified school. Choose ways you think we can strengthen the connection. What school-wide initiative, yeah, see, none of this is really talking about money. She's calling. Do the schools do a good job communicating, current forms of family communication used, preferred methods? Yeah, interested in receiving communication. So this is all, it's a different approach. You're after different information. So I'm just looking for some kind of consensus on that demographic. Who are the people that were thinking that it was important to put in, or none of them here right now?
I thought we pulled it out and we all agreed to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it really
That's
just
what I
came from the
remember.
example that you provided, and
Yeah.
that's why it was like,
And I think
Yeah.
Pat reinforced it from the board's perspective to say that really has no relevance.
Okay, well, let's just not put it in. And so, are we good with this the way it is? Are you wanting a paper, do you wanna
want me to print
just
it?
back up and spend 5 minutes
Let's just go
reading it
through
one
it,
more
yeah.
time?
Yeah, I agree, just to go through it.
Yeah.
Because I thought you guys made some changes and we had to reply before the break. I thought you
We
made
did make
changes to
some
the
changes,
family
so this has the
survey.
That's right, and
changes.
you did.
Yeah.
And I was like, this
and you
looks
were
great.
fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't, yeah, whatever we got, we responded to.
Yeah,
So,
I thought it looked good, ready to go.
yeah.
I think some of them were how we were able to ask people the questions or organize the information
I
that
think
came
the
out.
one that was, oh, this
Oh, this
one,
one,
we were just wondering.
your students is
So
receiving
is your
education
student
vote for-
receiving?
Thank you.
It was really hard to say, but then we felt that people kind of could figure it out.
Is R, it could be is/R.
So like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
got it. Make sure that still makes sense the way I just,
Can we look at
And then when
the eye
this
so we
comes-
can see what it looks like?
Yeah.
Can you hit the
Yeah.
final and come right back so they can see actually, when they get the data, what that looks like?
no, maybe. Something about it fit. This one.
Oh, okay.
So that's how they get to respond. That's what the question
Oh, okay,
looks
cool.
like to them. What you saw just a minute ago is just the short of how to put it in.
But,
Wait,
Yeah.
there's a lot of, yeah.
If you scroll, what happens?
Yeah, you can move right, there you go, I was like,
Right.
where's the rest of it, okay.
And that will all appear on
Got it,
theirs. This is just.
Are they gonna look
Do
like
we
this?
need to, oh, it
Yeah.
does say, please scroll.
yeah, got it.
It's got half a parentheses.
Should we say scroll right? Because sometimes scrolling means this way,
Yeah.
just to
Okay.
be super clear.
So please scroll to.
To the right.
Oh, you can't do it on this one. And then there's an extra parentheses at the very end.
Yep.
And I would, put please scroll for not higher readings, for higher grade levels.
No, it's
No,
rated.
rating.
It's rating. Right?
Yeah.
Satisfaction
Grade levels
level.
are-
It's the ranking.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the red eye, don't worry.
It's a little confusing still.
Yeah, so, and I would just bold that.
Okay.
And then get rid of the extra exclamation,
Can we just
I
say,
mean, the extra paren, the end.
to be really specific for people,
there's-
just
it's
please
easy
select
for it.
school, grade level, and rating,
Yeah.
I think that's good to spell it out.
just so they
Good
know that they
suggestion.
have to pick.
Please select school.
Right,
We'll go back.
you're not
to
just selecting what grade they're in. You need to scroll right, scroll
School,
right to
grade
actually.
level, and rating.
Rating, yeah.
Is it a risk that people won't read through the details and then they'll think 5, 6 is the highest?
Well, it
Yes.
says up there,
Well, if they have a
hopefully.
7, 8, they'll go, well, where's that? And then I think, I personally didn't tend to go back and read the direction.
But
I mean, the other choice is to just
Can we
do
just
a
do
1,
very
2.
satisfied,
Yeah, we could simplify the choices so it's
extremely
not
satisfied,
a
not
scroll.
satisfied,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, do
We
a
could
scale, like a
change the
grading scale.
top So it's
so that-
not a scroll.
Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
That's a great idea.
I'm gonna back out so we fix it right now.
Because
Okay.
it's important that we get what grade they're in.
I agree.
We agreed
What
to that.
cohort? Yeah. I'm with you. So let me, Stockbridge, Rochester. Here we go. So just, would you change this to
We'll take the numbers out.
not satisfied?
Yeah,
Satisfied and very satisfied?
mhm. I like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Did you think if you scroll, we'll never?
Right.
So then, we'll change the directions in a minute, but let's see what it does.
Lindsay, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah? Then it's all one
perfect.
thing.
Oh,
Perfect.
that's, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
But I still think that you should
We-
spell out.
So
what-
So now let's
we
do
have
the
to change,
directions.
right,
Yeah,
Okay.
we have to have it say,
so,
because 9 and 10 are not.
Okay.
And 1 and 2 don't exist.
You hoped for, and then just put,
Not satisfied,
please
satisfied.
select school,
grade level,
grade level, and rating
yeah.
For each student.
for each student. Like that, okay?
Well, we'll give it one more eyeball
Yeah, let me,
before we hit the send button. Bravo, number 2.
Okay.
We're rolling. We good now with this?
so now, this is what it looks like.
That's awesome,
That feels so much clearer.
Yeah,
very,
that was good.
less effort, and it satisfies what Mary's
Yeah.
question was.
Yeah, that's, I'm glad we waited. Our brains were a little fried at the end of that.
And then, would you be open?
Not being a parent
Yeah,
of a student, what exactly does that mean?
which one?
That next question.
Yeah,
there are conversations about potentially doing like, pre-K to 3rd grade on one campus and 4, 5, 6 on another campus, or
Okay.
figuring out ways to restructure
But-
based on what's coming from
But
Montpelier.
if you don't spell that out, how can someone give?
I think most parents are aware, but
Okay,
I also
so
feel
that's
like,
the assumption that
it's-
that question goes under.
I think we also stayed away from doing it in the beginning because it was leading,
people to.
because no one knew
certain-
what was happening. Like, there was no information really that was clarified yet from Montpelier, but now there is more information.
Is it important to mention that it's not for next year, but would be for the following year, or is it for next year?
There's no time.
There's no time.
Yeah, we
So it's,
put a date on
okay.
that.
All right, I was just curious if it was like that we were,
And
So
Katie,
the
I might
state could do-
challenge that maybe not all parents know that there is
Fair,
an option.
fair, okay.
So Keith's point's valid, but I don't know how much more you'd explain by not leading the question to
I think the
consolidation.
flip side of that, like backstory, is the last time something like this came up from the school board, we had an unmerged vote. So it's like the idea of like, can we just start having those conversations as communities about, is there a better way to be doing this?
oh, I didn't understand.
I don't know, that's
But
my,
see,
Yeah.
there's a perfect example.
Can we-
You don't understand that.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, the questions would be raised, I don't know what they're talking about, but say they're talking about trying to put a certain grade level at one campus and a certain grade level at another campus. That doesn't address the potential problem that's still out there, the elephant in the room, having so few students in two buildings.
Yeah.
right,
Could it,
That just leaves us, the district still open to being consolidated by an outside party.
Yeah,
not as of
Friday.
Friday. The the Senate Ed Committee removed the class size minimums and the district minimums in the revised bill.
thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie.
Yeah,
Excuse
you
me.
worked really hard on that.
So there was a point that this question was totally different, and that's just how quickly things have changed.
Okay, and we're
But I-
pretty sure that they're not gonna go back, they're not gonna backtrack from there. The
This
governor's not gonna
morning,
veto it.
well, so that was my wonder too, but we had another coffee conversation in Rochester this morning, and something Jamie shared is that the governor's starting to change his tune a little bit because so many rural communities have spoken out
Good.
about,
Okay,
yes, no, all valid questions,
okay.
like, and questions that a lot of people have been asking.
So then the
But
proposed
Scott-
criteria is, sorry,
Oh, no, go ahead.
the proposed criteria then is just purely budgetary for evaluation
And, like supervisory union,
versus school district.
yeah.
And Phil Scott has said, if you don't make an effort to do something, I will step in and make a
Right.
Do
decision.
something.
But this is not us doing nothing, this is us doing something.
No, because a community member asked, it was a great question, how can we be proactive about this? Similar to some conversation that came up last week at the conversation here. How do we be proactive and not have to be reactive? Like, what if we had the conversation of all being in one building? Would that change? And we've just kind of been plugging the community survey as like, if you're willing to have that conversation, then we need to know. The board needs to know so they can have the conversation, kind of speaking for here.
So do we say something like, in the past, the towns have voted down a proposal to consolidate the two schools?
I don't know that there's ever been a proposal on the floor,
Okay.
at least as long as I've been around.
How about, would you be open to the RSUD board exploring how we educate our students at our two campuses? If it expands educational and social opportunities for our students? Would you be open
Well,
to,
I think there's
so
an.
how we
oh,
educate
oh,
our students
Sorry.
at
let
our
me go
two
back.
campuses, or how we
I think
educate
there's
our
a
students?
No, I think it was just a yes or no, whether you're willing to have the conversation. Couldn't remember.
I think the board,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been asked for us, well, are you going to considering, consolidating two campuses?
Right.
And we said, our last input was that the communities were not interested in that.
Okay.
So we would have to have a significant request for us to reopen that and consider that.
And what was the basis of the demographics that said they weren't interested?
This is,
I know I wasn't asked.
Do you remember? Do you want? It might be before you.
it might be before me,
Yeah.
yeah. It was during the merging.
Yeah, merging, unmerging. I think the demographics were the loudest on the Zoom call, if I'm being honest. Like, who spoke the loudest about Huawei, and there's this
Right, I
whole
just want to
plan.
know that, was it 5 people, 100 people, 500
Probably
people?
5.
If it was 3 people or 4 people who were voicing a specific
Yeah,
opinion,
no, I don't
that's just
remember
like me
any.
going on the opposite side of that
I
opinion
don't
and saying,
remember.
I think it
yes.
was before my time, but
Yeah.
it was in school board meetings.
Yeah.
Right.
So it varied.
It's, I mean, if you don't come and show up at the school board meeting And
I listen on the school board.
right, so, but, you know, there are people
Yeah.
who were very vocal about not wanting to consolidate. But this is also one of the reasons this whole thing was created, is we need to revisit these questions, and especially in the changing legislative environment, you know, these are valid questions, should we do this, you know, or,
Right, I just want to make sure that the board and the district doesn't make decisions based on a few and ignoring many.
Right.
Well, I guess the budget
And-
vote, the school budget vote is the opportunity for people who are opposed to it to come and vote against the budget.
But they have to personally go there. I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. I'm going to be away.
Right.
Yeah,
I can't vote because the school district refuses to allow,
the town, it's the town.
no.
No, it's the school district, it's the school district. You guys voted
Australian
on
ballot.
it last,
I was here last time.
right?
and I was
Last
the-
July during the revote,
Right,
the
I was able to come.
reconsideration, there was another
But-
vote.
So no absentee option.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
unfortunately, there are people that just can't make it to that meeting.
Yeah.
So again, last year, when I went, there was 135 people total who voted for a $5 million budget. And if it's only 135 people giving the indication to the board, and I'm not saying it's that many, it's probably much fewer than that, I don't think that's an accurate position for the board to take,
Well,
my
yeah,
opinion.
no fair, okay. We have a
Done.
board member
I'm
here
done.
now, we are not.
But I think that's the
Make this a
unfortunate
board meeting.
reality of these small towns in general. Like, we
Yeah.
have the options tax vote coming up on Saturday, and no one can be there. So it's
Oh.
like,
And right, so we need to address
Yeah.
that, and Australian voting should be permitted to allow for greater participation of the residents, knowing the hardships that you just cited. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
Well,
but it's a issue by the voters, whether or not we do go to Australian ballot. And they can always be petitioned. And actually, you know, it's,
It was petitioned last year and voted down.
Right, by the same small group of people out of the whole community that attends those meetings.
Did you have to be in person to vote
Right.
for it?
Right. I was out of
Thank
town
you.
for the vote last year in July.
So let's see, if I show
Okay,
up, I'm
we
gonna
just
vote
lost
yes.
a third of the meeting, hang on.
you know, I don't think it's a bad thing that you have to show up in some fashion to express your opinion. I would be open to how you make, and legally, you have to have the vote to change, whether it's Australian ballot or not. If you can come up with we can't just do it unilaterally. It has to be
All right,
vote.
but just really quick.
But
last time.
Okay, sorry, but I think there's also a way where you can reconsider the vote, and if you gather enough signatures, there's a way that you can challenge the vote if you look back in the statute. So if there was an issue, like that's what I did for the town select board, like if you have an issue with something, you can challenge the vote by
Right.
gathering people who agree with you, their signatures, and doing that.
And that's all great, but if you don't get the people to show up at the meeting, in other words, I can have 500 people sign a petition
Right, but
saying,
if they don't
we
all
want
come to
that,
vote on
but
it.
they're not able to get down there en masse,
Yeah.
but they're all signed and agreeing to,
Yeah.
have the Australian ballot.
Okay, Mary.
I feel it's important to keep the question pretty close to what it is because it's the same question that was in the community
Yeah,
survey.
I
And
was
so
gonna say that.
for
I just
comparison
You know,
purposes, we
went
should
through
keep
this.
it.
We spent a lot of time at the very beginning of why we went back to the board for clarification. Because people were very nervous about asking a question in any way that would suggest that this group or the board, and without, we don't have authority, would interpret that there was this, this underlying plan to shut one of the schools down. That was the panic.
No.
And we spent a couple of meetings
Yeah.
going through that. And Katie was really helpful in helping us figure out how to ask these questions. And that's exactly why this says changing both school configurations, because we wanted to at least suggest that it wasn't,
There's no one way to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that it didn't
Yeah.
mean that somebody was gonna get closed down.
No, I agree, after we had that conversation, that wording's good.
Yeah, so we spent a lot, and I hate to do this unless it's really,
I'm going to go press that.
important, but this is a lot, we have already chewed on.
I
It's sneezed.
Sorry, it's used.
You can point, oh, no, I'm sorry.
There you go.
very often questions such as, okay, let's combine, have certain classes, certain grades in one campus and other in the other. It's not, some say, oh, well, this is obvious, and it isn't, because there are outlying schools who send,
Right.
if they
Yeah.
send their
There's just
kids.
so many factors.
And this, what our mission is to sort of just kind of find out how people feel about some of these things, so that the board just has a little bit more information about how they may want to proceed.
Yep.
Right.
And in the course of our doing this, we will have some recommendations of things that we think that would be good things for the board to look at
Mhm.
and consider.
Right.
But we're not at a decision. So I have one other thing about this survey, and Megan's not here today. So Megan, emailed me while I was away, and said, that she asked about the family survey, and I said, that we hadn't finished it, and that we would be working on it today. And because she wanted to add a question, she said, I would like to see if we could please add to this question, would you be open, this very question, would you be open to the RSUD board exploring changing both school configurations if it expands educational and social opportunities for our students? I would like to see this have a place that says, if no, why? I think we should try and get why people would not want to do this. I personally know I would answer no, and would want to explain why for the school board's knowledge. So then, she got the community survey, thought it was the family survey, was very upset with me. Because I had told her she would have influence on this, because this one wasn't out yet. And I did respond to her and say, no, you're still good. And I don't think I know why she's not here. I don't, did
A sick child. There's
That-
sickness in that household.
She wasn't.
Somebody's sick.
Oh,
Somebody's
okay.
sick in that house.
All right. So, but, I feel obligated, whether, how folks feel about that.
Additional thoughts? I mean,
Right.
Well,
there's an opportunity to add any thoughts you might have,
Right.
right?
And
If
it
yes,
actually
why?
comes
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
if no,
immediately
why,
after
and
that
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Right, it could be either way. If yes, why? Like,
Right.
why do you feel this way? I think it's important to elaborate. I mean, I think part of, I'm just gonna speak for her,
Yeah.
what I understand, not specifically to this, but knowing that there are kids coming from Granville and Hancock that come all the way to Rochester, and that's a stretch for some families. Then if you say, okay, now you've got a third grader who's in Stockbridge, and you have a kindergartner who's in Rochester, or whatever,
Yeah,
they may be saying,
Yeah.
I'm not open to it because of this. And so I think that information is super important.
so here's the question, and I don't want to spend more than about 5 minutes on this, is do we want to add it to that question, or because additional thoughts comes immediately after, do you think that does it?
I think
Or you could
additional
just say-
thoughts is maybe about the whole survey. And
It
so
is,
I think
so-
if we add just a little something to that question in particular, it gives that opportunity for that specific question, and then following additional thoughts could be about anything else.
What are other people thinking?
I'm indifferent, I think that's a fine idea. It gives an opportunity to be specific to that question. And I didn't find the community survey was that daunting by having to fill in something in those last 3 questions. It was fairly
Well, it's
easy.
one of those questions that we talked about, who really has skin in the game, or who really knows, and community was more about if you knew somebody that was.
I think it would help the board, though. It's a very general question to our dialogue earlier that doesn't give us enough information
Yeah.
about, well, what are they talking about?
What are the issues?
Yeah.
So let's back it up and figure out how we're gonna do that.
I would suggest not attaching it to no or yes, but
Yeah.
Please explain your
Please explain.
thoughts.
please
Please explain your
thoughts.
answer.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
please explain your choice. Right.
In a few words, explain your choice or something.
In 1,000 characters.
Briefly.
I just, at least didn't want to limit it to 250 characters.
All right, great.
Just like that?
Is it in the same,
It would
Your
go in the
thoughts
same order.
behind your choice?
please explain your thoughts.
Please elaborate on.
Yeah.
Please elaborate.
No, it's fine.
I don't want them to have to justify, but, or please explain your thoughts
Behind your choice,
behind your choice, right?
your thoughts behind your choice.
I want them to be like, you gotta make a,
If
Then
you
you're
like,
asking for it, no matter what they choose, they've got to write it.
Right, yes or no. I mean, because I do think some people
some
might say
people have
yes.
written NA too on the community survey, like, I got nothing for you, but you won't let me.
Yeah.
Something in there.
so you can unrequire it.
Your thoughts behind.
You can optionally
Find.
explain your
Well,
choice.
people can still put NA in there. I think
Yeah.
we should really just have that opportunity in there.
Mhm.
And I believe that's why, I can't say that that's
Previous
definitely why she feels that way, but I'm pretty
Previous.
sure that's what she's thinking.
Okay,
No, I think it's
All
good
right.
insight.
That's good.
you good now? That's exciting. All right,
Okay.
all right, family done. Woo! So we'll go through and make sure that there's no ridiculous, if we are an educational institution, it is important.
Yes.
Stuff right. I used to, tell me as a superintendent, someone would go out and there'd be a spelling error or something. So,
Is there a deadline on this one? It says the survey will close on.
well, okay, so today is May 1st, right? When
Mhm.
would be May? So I left California in April. That's
Long
trip. Crazy. 2 weeks? I mean, we should have this before our next meeting,
Our next meeting is the 15th.
and I think 2 weeks is fine. I mean, this is going
So they'll,
right now.
yeah.
Does that work?
2 weeks is May
And you do
15th.
Thursday folders.
Is that a
We
Thursday?
can email it.
It
out
is.
tomorrow, though, and then put it
Okay.
on
We can
Thursday.
make it due by the
Why
14th,
don't yeah, we could
the day before.
day before, let's make it Wednesday, whatever.
Oh, and in our community survey, it said it was toward the end, did you see it, it said it was due by?
May 2nd.
May 2nd. So,
Did it pop
It
up
did
on yours?
say-
yeah.
Mine was, why, that's weird, okay. In the beginning, it said May 2nd, but toward the end, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird, I was like,
Oh,
oh,
That's
that's
okay.
interesting.
it's just odd, yeah.
Come after Wednesday.
Thank you.
Well, should we address Keith's concern? I don't know if the meeting wasn't formally opened yet when Keith raised the concern about the community survey, which I think is valid,
I do too.
that more than one person in a household could complete the survey. We didn't say anything
Multiple
about that.
times.
Multiple times.
Okay.
So you actually only got 57 because I wanted to test it.
I was gonna say, how many do we have to subtract it from this?
I admitted right
No,
away
that's
that I
okay.
did
But
it.
58 is not enough, period, in the story. And if somebody's gonna spend that much time,
Doing it twice.
I don't know how to do
It's
it.
not a
But you don't have to,
scientific
but you don't
survey,
have
it's a
to
survey.
spend a lot of time.
What's that?
And you don't have to spend a lot of time.
Didn't take
In a
long.
half an hour, I could probably generate 20, 25
Okay, so if
responses.
tomorrow you get 25 responses,
Oh,
you know, because they're all Keith.
Thanks. All right, so, this will go out, we'll be done on the 14th, and, yeah. Okay.
Is there a way to,
We can do,
From the families, I would think the family survey is tighter, right?
Right, you,
Yeah.
you said that that's not the concern
You
here,
can't do
trying
anything
to
about
understand.
no, I don't know that we can change it now on the community survey, but it says you can limit it to one response,
But it requires.
but it requires a sign-in. So,
Is there a back way in the system that, in other words, if it recognizes one email more than once, it would reject it?
No, because these were things that we
I don't
talked
know.
about, our subsurvey.
That's beyond my
with
Google
the-
form.
Yeah, well, not me as well, so that's why I asked the question.
It's a good question, I just don't.
So, are we gonna try to limit that on the family and staff, or?
I just-
know staff are doing.
So here's what when I send something out to the community, I try and think of my 92-year-old grandfather who does email, but it's a stretch. And he would want to fill a survey out like this and provide feedback. And if he had to log in, every grandchild would get a phone call. Like, how do I do this? I just should be able to click the link and type what I want to type. So I do, and it's a whole other ordeal. If you don't answer email one day, he sends you one, "Are you alive?" But, 92, you
If
can
you just
get
put
one
a
of
simple
that.
statement, one response per household,
Oh, true.
you know,
Yeah.
and
But-
go on the other system.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Amy.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
so, I don't want to do it on here, right? So I wanted to do it here. And I had to type in that code, like the
So
specific, right, because I didn't want to scan the QR code, I wanted to be able to access it on my laptop. Can we change that to say, Can we change the name of it, or does it get generated automatically? Do you know my question, what I'm asking?
Yeah, you could do
Like
like a bit
QT,
Lily. You
capital
could do a bit
K,
Lily.
whatever, because,
To
one of the letters was
simplify.
a lowercase q, for example, and it was like, you know, for a second, it was like, what is that? Is that a not, like, you know? So I'm wondering if we are able to change it on the next one to say family survey. Click the link and you're in, or type in family survey and that gets you in, as opposed to the generated code that has a bunch of letters and numbers
So if you
and
grant
random.
it, Lily.
The towns also, I got something from the
Like
town,
a-
yeah,
Stockbridge,
like a
that
tab.
provided a link.
That's
Yeah,
what
to
I'm
the
wondering,
survey.
yeah, that's what
Right,
I'm
I mean,
wondering.
what we could do is just that link and then that's what
Like
what
that.
it's
And the link
entitled.
can be changed
What
to
it's
say
entitled.
family survey.
We'll title it family.
I just didn't know, I mean, it was fine, I sat there and did it and I
Yeah.
figured it out, but like, I
No,
wonder if
that
a lot of
shouldn't be
people.
necessary
And
on
you got
this
Hal
one,
Schwartner.
because it's coming
Now,
electronic.
Coming
she
electronically.
pointed that out, I'm just saying on the community
Yeah.
one,
And,
Then
Okay.
you put your wrong one in there. And then, okay.
and you
The
don't need
staff
to sign
questions.
up
Are we-
for anything.
Are we good with moving on? I'm sorry.
Yes.
We are.
The staff questions, I have to tell you, this
Oh,
part,
oh. One per family.
there is a draft, I don't know, Mary, you own it. I just.
It's this one.
No,
that's it.
so,
What is mine is yours.
and do you remember where these questions came from? I mean, they're all good questions.
We all did, we worked in groups. Didn't we work in groups?
I don't.
Or no, is this from?
I think we talked about the fact of just taking them off the original question list, and Mary was gonna try and
Right,
populate
and
something.
then the original, there were a bunch there. So, we need to work on this tonight. And it's not so much about, to me, it's more about what are the questions that we want to ask? Does everybody have access to this right this second, either on their phone or?
I can print it out too. It won't take
If
long.
it's on the board, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, I think that there were some curricular questions. And it sort of went back down to current successes, desires, improvement ideas, and strategies. You know, and when I think about improvement ideas and strategies from staff, you know, they're the where the rubber meets the road.
Having fun, I think.
But
that
it's
was a good
also, things need to be asked, and I think these are, in a positive note. This needs to not be, for lack of a better phrase, a gripe session, if there's things to gripe about. This is like having a meeting and saying, if you have a concern, I need you to come with ideas on how to fix it.
Right, have a plan.
Don't just come here and talk. And so this is one of those things, because it's anonymous, that can, you know, encourage folks to not be thinking about how to fix things, and just to be, if they're frustrated. And I'm not saying, I have no reason to believe that your staffs are frustrated with that stuff. But like, what kinds of information would you be interested in learning more about from the schools?
I don't know that that's applicable.
That means the other school.
Yeah.
So what I think what I really like to do, if we could get a couple of copies of this and go into maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, into 2 small groups, go through, spend a half hour.
I see the print.
Yep, that would do it. And then, take a look at those questions and make sure there's not, what are the other things that we might want to ask? And if it goes if it goes on, it'll go on to the next meeting, and that's not a problem. It's a problem if it goes past the next meeting. So if we could get those general things, then Mary and Lindsay and I can work on, the questions, and then there'll be something to respond to, like we've done in the past.
Lindy.
What's that?
Lindy, right? Did you say
It is.
Lindsay?
I said Lindsay,
I
didn't I?
don't know.
Lindy.
It's okay.
It's a red eye. I was like, how is she, who's that?
We do have a PE teacher named Lindsay.
We have
so
Lindsay,
it
we
was-
have a
I'm
parent named
sorry.
Lindsay. I'm like,
Yeah.
which Lindsay? Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, for example, that question that you called up first, like, I don't know that I know how to answer that, and I am a staff person. So
Right.
I'm looking at that, like, how would I answer?
Yeah, what is that? So, and there's also, yeah, I think there's some things. And teachers do have good ideas, and I think we do need
I'm just curious, are we trying to maintain the same data collection format as we've had for the other surveys, or are we looking to have it be more long answer text for the
I think
teachers?
long answer
The more
text.
long-
For the teachers, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that many of them, so
Yeah.
it's, to
Yeah.
correlate that wouldn't be, a major task.
And then I
But
guess,
think, the general sort of question, like reconfiguration questions, is,
Yeah.
What do they think about that in terms of, from an education standpoint? And just make sure we've got the subjects ready to roll. So in the meantime, while we're waiting, the most important thing for tonight around the community survey was, do we want, or, no, I'm gonna say, you need to, but we need to do another push. And how might we do that, and who's gonna be responsible for making that happen?
I was gonna ask that question, because it seems like not everybody's, if we have 58 answers.
It's going out in the Rochester Town email newsletter
Great.
tomorrow.
Great.
That goes out every Friday.
what's the deadline?
The deadline change, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can leave it open as long as we leave it, or we can make another push and say we're keeping it open for another little bit. You guys tell me.
What about, is there a way we could have at the May 6th vote, a laptop or something set up so that people could just
Yeah.
do it right there if they had
Yeah.
early time or,
You could ask Ray to have more than one.
Yeah, we have like
Laptop
little
as well.
station, like a
If
station.
you need help with that, let me know.
It's a great idea.
Super.
And extend it to the 14th, similar to the family survey, that way,
Yeah. What I've been secretly doing is, as the responses come in, and I'm like, oh, look, a huge group of people just responded, and it says they get all their information from Front Porch Forum, or that, so then I'm like, okay, let's upload it to Front Porch Forum again, or
nice.
I get it from the town newsletter, okay, so I sent it to the town clerks, like, digitally, and asked them to, it was very informative, just automatically.
Yeah.
getting-
Well, and I
Yeah.
think that
Great
in and
idea.
of itself is really valuable
Right.
information.
Right, 'cause I got it from Stockbridge.
Yeah, like you got the
Where-
link quicker,
Yep.
yeah. Because I was worried things weren't moving through the mail
No,
as quick
she
as
got
I
it.
wanted them to be.
No, and Jill got it out.
Yeah,
the flyer,
No,
she sent the link through,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
an email?
very impressive email, yes.
Oh, that was the postcard copy.
Very impressive, but email
So
format,
cool.
it looked impressive.
Oh, okay. I saw it on my phone, I didn't see it.
That's good.
You can sign up for like town alerts through, on the Stockbridge Town website.
Right.
That's, so she pushed it out that way.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so-
Rochester
and,
has this
redundancy
newsletter
is
that
fine.
goes out every week.
I'm unaware of that.
Okay.
I get it over there. Every time I get something in the email, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Well,
now.
We're gonna have to ask you next meeting how many times
Yeah.
did you fill out this survey?
I only voted, we voted twice, so I said one for my wife and one for me, so
There
there
you
you
go.
go. So
Your
it was
household.
two in the
Yeah, that's our
household.
household.
We just happen to have the same opinions.
Should we not think about the survey?
I don't know.
That's fine. I
You're
think that
now,
one.
there's now multiple people who have given me the same look when
Like,
I
am I on the
Said
list that I?
Julie told me there's a newsletter that she sends out on Fridays.
Probably to Nancy, Lily, and
Thank you.
maybe a couple others.
All right,
I don't
can we
know.
just do 3 and 4? Thank you.
That's interesting.
Because I don't,
Would you do one for
somebody asked me
Thank you,
today.
Thank you, thank you.
Is there like an equivalent of Stockbridge Connections for Facebook or Rochester? And I was like,
There's one for everybody.
Oh,
Everybody got
okay.
one?
I didn't need my
Okay, down
own.
to 25 minutes.
Thank you.
You want to work in pairs? You want to work in 3 and
We just
4?
work over the
We'll back way through and then we'll go through
I don't want to move right now.
4. Mary, do you want my chair to go up in the?
Sure.
Oh, thanks for that.
Does you feel?
Number 1.
Does you?
On any of those.
Does you?
Well, does you?
No.
Okay. Question 1.
Thanks.
How about the fact that done a good job of creating a unified school community?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a valid question to ask the teachers, right? Yeah.
Negative 1.
So we leave that one?
You know what, would you guys do me a favor?
Does you feel?
Need some editing on two.
Do you think that it needs to be that many choices? 1 through 10?
No, I think it could be
5?
like 5, or
3?
it could be the way the community.
Satisfied? Very satisfied?
Agree, disagree.
Okay.
How did we were on that one?
You might do 5. I would think,
Yeah,
a little more nuanced than,
That's because
yeah, maybe 1 through 5,
yeah.
okay.
Are you interested in knowing
Today, it's like
Did you see?
how or
days of I've been.
what could be done to improve it?
Honestly, I feel like you also probably have a lot of this
Is
information.
there anything else?
Like,
we
you,
might-
do.
the board doesn't, but like,
Yeah.
you're, like, boots on the ground. I mean, maybe the board does, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't hear what you,
I was just saying that Wendy could probably fill this out.
Kind of leaning heavily
I
into-
know exactly what everyone on her team
Yeah.
thinks about all of it,
I
but
think what's interesting is
I don't
it's kind of a
even- it
clear
makes sense
divide in
that it's
staff,
there.
some people who've been here for a really long time, and some people who've just finished up
I'm
their,
not saying it's of the.
their first year.
It's for the.
So it would be interest, because the group of us that have been here together for a while, and I'm not even really in that long, but like, they remember, like, pre-merger, merging, and all the things that have, steps, what it was like before, when they felt like they were on an island by themselves, because they had
It
no,
makes sense to ask the
to
staff.
what it is now.
Yeah.
Versus the folks who have only been here for 8 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could even just do
That's kind of
one-
patting on the back.
1 to 3 years here.
Yeah,
Successes.
because it would be interesting, I think there's probably some things, I assume,
Well, that's like.
about,
Something like that, 'cause you're
but
right.
then do you
that's
also,
the-
want to talk about
and you
other
also might
experience?
ask,
I
not
would
only
think- I would
just
think as a
how long
staff,
they've been
maybe
in this,
maybe
in the
5.
district, but also number of years teaching.
yeah,
yeah,
Because,
like as demographics.
yeah.
so you're doing that, taking it?
Yep.
Because I would be curious what the correlation is, like,
Yeah.
because that's important, so we can keep retaining people too.
Did you offer, did she accept?
She did, she meets with Jamie on the 20th.
Amazing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
just gonna say that.
It's exciting. Her principal, her current principal reference check was glowing, like beyond glowing. So I was like, okay.
That's
So
amazing.
I needed to hear that you weren't trying to force this person out by moving from kindergarten to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Right? And she was like, no, it's just a seniority thing, and she walked, like,
She has, yeah,
yeah,
So hard.
But to Keith's point,
it was
A good win for us, yes?
big one.
Yes,
Yeah.
big one.
or she brought.
And we just didn't
I think that's in
another
the next thing,
candidate
the
for
desire.
this person.
It does, yeah, they're very similar. I agree.
Who wants to be part-time because he does his own farming on the side.
Successes and.
does this what?
Own farming.
Oh,
Welcome to our
But it's
group.
like it's 15.
Well,
So that phone call will happen tomorrow.
amazing.
Because I did the reference check.
Oh, good.
So,
So feeling like we're on an uphill,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
more about
All right.
the school.
Do you?
Is that
Feels
relevant?
like a community with
The
other
campus.
campus.
Faculty.
In fact, it's staff, yeah.
I,
Doesn't belong.
I don't know if this is a choose all the ways, but maybe
I'm
just
assuming
what are the ways you
that
think
the
we can
staff get-
strengthen? Like, I think it's okay if that's open-ended
Yeah.
Don't, that was when-
for number
Is it-
3.
Yeah,
going-
yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of that question.
Yeah,
I don't think it
okay.
belongs. I think that's okay.
I don't know.
So, like, in some of the other surveys we've asked, like, what are ways we could have more collaboration between Stockbridge and Rochester schools? But I think for teachers, we could just ask them flat out, what are some ways we could do better on this?
Okay,
Instead of trying to guide them.
Oh,
They know,
They have,
they have some
The
prior
full
knowledge that maybe community
How
members don't
successful are
have.
you in the position of blah, blah, blah? I would go for that, 10.
Yeah,
I don't,
but as a staff member, I don't know if it's the education you hope for, it's more like
Open-ended instead of number
they
3,
deserve.
the way number 3 is.
What I think.
for which one? Where are you?
She's
Yeah,
all-
number 3, open-ended.
Takes it away
Yeah,
from-
so cross that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I
From
hope
your
for?
opinion,
Right, right.
I
Is
think
it-
those two are
I'm
important
good with
because we
that.
have enough
They deserve
people who can vote.
Because if
Mhm.
you come to the table with they deserve.
I'm about to make my push, like, I'll see you all at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Register a
They're
voter.
not getting what they deserve, they deserve
I don't know.
power.
Oh, I think that's so important,
gosh.
even if you don't live in the community.
do you want us to do a teacher dinner beforehand for Teacher Week too? We can do that.
then you
Because
have-
coming
Let
from
me
me,
figure
it's
out how many people it really would be.
Okay, because if that will be like more incentivizing for people to stay,
that would,
What would be more incentivizing if I could say to them, you'll be on the free food.
I know.
Oh,
Last
good.
year, they was
Okay.
like, so are you bringing us Dunkin' Donuts tomorrow morning? I'm like, yes, what's your order? I drive right by one in the morning. Absolutely.
That's good to know too.
Yeah.
resources
To
to
provide
provide
sort of
Yeah.
like little,
education.
a
I
thorough.
wonder if that's
But-
when Blair's doing the,
she just wants to.
is that the day?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Stick to tack, 'cause like.
Which
you're
is,
right,
I didn't even
somebody
think
might
about
have-
it
Yeah,
in
that's
correlation,
perfect.
because I'm like
But
chunked, but.
And should this not
So,
be
this is
like a
my,
choice question?
you know, going on my fourth year.
Yes or no?
And
Yes,
what
yes
I
or no.
love is
And
going
explain
through
why.
all the school board
Yes or no,
minutes. And
explain
as a
your
teacher,
answer.
I
Right.
never did that
But I
before,
hear
but
what
now
you're
they get sent to me.
Because then
Being
I'm
that I'm
not
at the
Yeah.
SU office, and I always wonder would teachers want to have all the board minutes? I mean, they can look at them because they're
Yeah.
posted, but I always wonder it would be such an easy thing to
Like a
hit
summary?
share all.
Right.
And I just want to put it out there
Like, for
because I
example, we
just,
have a plan
it's
for-
like I've learned
for
so
math, we have a
much.
plan for literacy.
No, I think it's a good,
We'll share our links.
Science,
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
like, it's not hard.
There are science
to do,
books you
and I
can
just-
borrow through the state, things like that.
Yeah.
I just wonder about it, and it's, I don't think any schools do that.
Well, and I think, like, in my brain,
It's not like
I
it's
never thought of
provided.
that as a
So
teacher.
there's an opportunity
Yeah.
for people to say, well,
But it's so helpful.
It is, yeah.
That's
That's why I'm curious, like, I think,
Yeah.
like,
things like that.
do
because
you
I think
know
the board
what's
is
going
very
on, or-
hands-off in terms of understanding
I think there's a group that
exactly
does, and I think
what's
there's a group that doesn't, but
Right.
as goes with
This is life, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So frame the question. I might agree both. with
Number
one,
4?
like,
Yeah, I think we
great
keep
question right
4
after
and
that one.
5.
It says, do you have correct resources? Like, how would you frame
How
the
did you
question?
phrase that? What did you say?
I just said, do you have the right resources?
Oh, I like
to-
6.
I like 6 too.
Yeah,
The proper resources to ensure the best education of your students.
I,
Is anything else on 7?
I guess, I guess the number 7 is more of like,
Yeah.
which way are we communicating? Are they talking about like inter-school communication or communication with parents? Or are we talking about
Right.
We changed the
community
last
conversations?
leg of
you're
that.
talking about from me, like,
Yeah.
Or, yeah,
Pages there,
Yeah.
what you vote for.
Yep.
is it,
I'm not sure.
It's important to you that there's an elementary school in each town.
There are just certain systems that are established already. I'm not sure how we
I
could
actually
use this
do
feedback,
think we should.
the way this question's currently
Yeah.
written, to like change or,
You're gonna find all kinds of
think it's
different
necessary.
things.
Well,
And I
it's,
don't think people are
basically you're
really
saying
thinking about
that
their own job.
you need to break it up into
People will think- 'cause
what
we
types
work
of
for our side.
communication.
Right.
We work for our side.
like, there's just certain, like, the school newsletter is not going away.
Because
Like,
You still would work for this.
my odds and ends on Sunday morning is not going away.
somebody that I
Like,
just texted about.
There's certain systems that
I
aren't,
texted her about the survey.
But that's all like more internal for you
Yeah.
guys, right? So
that's
is
why I
there-
can't like wrap my brain
No,
around
that, I don't think that that
Yeah.
would be what
How
people
to-
are thinking about.
internal versus external, I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh, do you want to break this up into 2 questions? And
I know
I'd be
really
open
For
to it.
commu- for
about the survey because
parent communications versus internal communications?
But also, how much say will they have
the
in,
idea of, like, how we
They're not gonna have a ton of say in
In the
like,
parent
ex-
communication.
yeah,
teachers are so incredibly different.
there's just certain
So for
expectations of how
staff,
that's gonna go
especially
Yeah.
out
like
with the
I
new
have
SIS
broadly
system
both
next year.
courses.
Sorry,
This
Informa-
is an opportunity.
we're switching over to a new information system next year
Then that doesn't provide
that
enough
creates this parent portal for communication.
favorite thing ever
It's, Katie's used it for when almost
at Killington?
Killington.
Oh, good.
So she's got the like parent knowledge of it, but like the expectation is going to be that that's how teachers are.
Right.
are sharing
10 months of difference.
But it's so great. It's like so, it's just like immediate communication with your, like direct communication with the teacher, and it doesn't have to be like a long drawn out thing. It doesn't have to, it could just be like,
It could just
really
be a
quick update.
picture, it would be
Yeah.
a lot of.
I'm like, I always feel so bad because
Yeah, yeah,
I,
exactly.
yeah.
Just on an
Yeah.
education level. So
I
I
always feel
don't,
so bad sending Mrs. Colton emails because I'm like, she has so much to do, and I don't want to like
That's
You know,
interesting.
that's my question.
overload her with like
Yeah, because.
more.
Yeah.
Moving on.
all right.
Lead 9.
Is there
I just satisfied
anything
brother Thomas.
that would help you, that teachers could give feedback for, in terms of communication, or offer to take, or like volunteer to help with any of
Should we
those
have-
pieces, or it's not even an issue?
Because I don't know how Alma works on the back end, like, I'd love their feedback once we make this switch. To know, like, what do you need help with to make
Yeah.
this
I
possible?
think it needs a
Nine, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or like to launch
I think
it,
it's
Yeah.
up for the board.
but I don't know enough about it
Just
yet
say
to
it's
ask
multiple
the
choice
right
decision.
questions.
Is it district wide?
Well, that's, so. Yeah, I don't know.
It's easy.
I'm open to ideas, maybe Amy has some from the teacher and that would be helpful.
I guess that's a question mark on how we
Yeah.
incorporate like
But they're wanting to know what the preferred method,
Yeah.
Faculty?
feel like this, number 8 is
Isn't it stand, I mean, is it not?
really important.
Yeah, it's like their feedback.
Is it up to the faculty?
There are people
And then
freaking
add
out.
the question that we added to the other one to
They do.
explain.
This comes in.
Yeah, I
No,
explained
no,
your
but I'm just saying,
thoughts.
Yeah.
so under that
Alright.
circumstance, then.
Snow day, yeah.
No, because I was able to share Tuesday that all the language got taken out.
Email, yeah. And
class.
she does on plans 2 once a week.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious if
Bless her, I think she likes that.
the Rochester-Stockbridge Unified District could redraw, like if this is, never mind, this is totally off topic.
I'll be curious what
We're
your
almost
question is
done,
once
so
I-
hold on to
Yeah.
it, because we'll have time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to know the answer to
Yeah.
that one. Facility and grounds. like,
But it would be our towns or our schools?
Our schools.
Yeah, partly because I'd rather them spend time.
Yeah,
Something
Parts
else.
of the survey.
yeah.
That question.
I agree.
Although many of the people who.
Do we think 10 is,
This is the.
I feel like I'd rather have the answer to 8
Yeah.
than I would to 10.
That's fine.
It doesn't matter, because it won't change.
But,
It won't change it.
and maybe there's another one about like, what resources do you feel like you need
yes,
more?
yeah.
So should we?
You know?
Starting's fine.
And maybe that's
It
what
has a low
replaces
value.
11, like what sort of resources,
What are we gonna change?
I don't know how to
Should
word
be
that.
standardized.
Can you talk about
All
it?
right, community conversation.
Yeah, just like, what other additional resources do you feel like you need? More financial, more coaching, more, I mean, I have a
Parental
rough idea.
involvement, like
Yeah.
more supplies, like,
What
yeah.
it could be anything, right? Like, there's no limit, I'm just, it's a perfect opportunity to be like, we're coming up at the end of the school year. You kind of know your crew, configurations aren't changing that much, like, what do you feel like you need more of?
For next year?
Yeah, or, yeah. I don't know that I can pull a lot of money out of my hat at this point in the ballgame, but we can get creative with some things. Like, is it, you need more team planning time? Like, you want time to plan with the person across campus, more activity?
Or like more access to grants, or like what's appropriate for grants, like what you can get and what
Yeah.
is available.
Yeah, just any of those questions, I think are good to hear. I'm sure someone will say less meetings. We don't need that much, but.
On 11, do we even need that many choices?
No, I think I'd like to
5?
make it like open-ended, like what sort of resources do you feel like you need?
I've seen since.
Instead of, to like, do your job or, I don't know, some sort of fun.
Which is great. Often I've been at
Grab.
districts before you pay the list is for
I can't stop using these.
It's just fun, right?
I don't know why that, it's like,
Strategically
Others,
placed.
I know, me entirely.
We need you all, you know, and so it doesn't feel like it's necessary or welcome, just
Yeah.
Do you have open board seats for Rochester too?
You attend the school?
Yeah, there is one, and no one has signed up for the ballot, so it's I had Martha Slater call me and say,
It's blank.
it's blank.
We got
What
like.
do I put in there? I said,
Someone you think wants to do?
yeah, so I suggested some people who have said they didn't want to run.
Is Josh running
Yes.
unopposed?
I haven't heard of anybody else writing.
Sorry,
Sorry.
it's my fault.
I think 12 makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost.
No, no, no.
We're on the edge. Or maybe
I feel like I was
we
part
take
of
12 and 13 out and use like, what are
I
the
like that.
successes?
I like that.
Yeah, and
the senior man.
what are ideas you have
I don't even tell you
to
follow up on
improve
Or it's relevant for you to
our
speak
district?
out. Like I said, find familiarity.
It's a rough word. But,
So you're saying,
Yeah, so get rid of 12 and 13 and keep
13.
14, 15.
right, but maybe change 15 to like, what are ideas you have that could improve or strengthen our unified district? And people have no qualms.
Sharon?
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, but
I literally don't know how you do everything that you do. And like,
Well, I feel a little behind right now because I spent half my day in court yesterday
you know, what,
for a custody case, but yeah. Happens about once every 6 months. I was more frustrated because I knew I was going to sit to not get
Your
called to have to
opportunity
be called
is
back
in
later.
question number.
Yes.
But I was like, can you give me the Wi-Fi password? So I can at least like cross off all those things that I need like absolute quiet for to get done.
Staff have, like,
Oh, yeah, you're careful, you can't make it start.
What I do is I
in
avoid, and I like go in the
100,000
classroom and
characters
read with kids, because I'm like, this is what makes it
or
all
less.
fun.
Five or more than-
So in the community survey, we do have, I don't know what towns folks are from, but there are a couple of people that said that they wanted to be involved, like that
saw-
one person that
yeah.
we emailed with. Yeah.
My YouTube
Who
thinks that's
sounds
all.
familiar? I feel like she
Her
has
resume is very
before.
interesting. She shared her
I need to ask
resume.
Erica.
She was a principal, I think at Prosper Valley, maybe?
Oh, yeah, she did, I've met with her, I feel like, before.
And there's someone else that responded, I saw today on the community
Yeah.
survey.
Someone Amy knows.
Oh, yes, yeah.
good.
So I don't know if either of those folks are
Yeah.
interested in a board position, but I would like to follow up.
Yeah.
Since I said I would,
Yeah,
contact
no.
me and I'll follow up, and I'm like,
But I bet.
Okay.
so,
Yes.
So we're gonna get staff.
I can do that.
and then books wise, this,
Yeah.
I know this is another topic, should I contact the town clerks in the 4 towns for new
Yeah.
babies?
5 times.
5 towns.
Granville,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Stuff.
yeah, 5 to
Expanded
Mansfield.
in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's expanded.
Killington cut a preschool, so we want to.
Killington cut the preschool, people are looking for where to go. They're freaking out, yeah, they're freaking out. I've been talking to like everybody I know
Oh,
over
how do
there,
I
being
get-
like,
how do we
come
get
to
the
Stockbridge,
word
it's
out?"
amazing, come to Stockbridge, it's amazing.
How do we get the word out? Like, do we do an open?
I put a front porch forum up. Is there another way in Pittsfield that I don't know about?
I think honestly, just putting it out there, like, for every school board meeting for them to talk about openly, and then just put it everywhere, like, hang it up.
Oh,
Do you have people coming into the store? Like, should we have a little flyer or something?
For me, it's more
at the
like the
store?
parents that I know from Killington who
Yeah.
are freaking out because they're trying to figure out childcare now for next year, because their kids are not getting into Killington preschool. They're on like wait lists and, yeah.
I know. Like we gotta.
I just
hijack
love what we're doing.
It's scandalous. It feels like, I'm like, wow, so great.
Yeah,
And then we're back to.
library.
Library. My wife's a librarian in Hancock, so.
Yes.
Oh,
Should we add
Okay.
like one
Um,
is,
So town
one is
clerk,
not successful?
so should
We
I
can
know
do a
their
couple
names? Should I
years.
call them or should I just stop into the town clerks and ask them?
I know in Rochester and Stockbridge, you can just email.
Okay.
And both Jill and Julie are super responsive.
Okay, so I emailed you, maybe if you could send me
Yeah.
their names or I could write them down.
Who's the Pittsfield?
Trish, she's also extremely responsive.
Oh, good.
Okay, yeah, she's
Okay.
good.
I would say, is there a way you could,
Hancock is the parent, Wendy Spencer.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
you'll connect
Yeah,
me
I
or
don't know
just,
who the Granville town clerk is, do you?
did you, when is that open house for the preschool?
The 23rd.
23rd.
oh, so
Got
maybe,
time.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll come to that, the preschool open house?
No.
That works.
Yeah, we have about
Because we have
5
a
more
lot of
minutes.
books.
Okay.
'Cause I have
Well, I
my
have a
books
lot
too.
of money, so that I'm gonna lose. So we should,
Oh, you
that
wanna
we
help
could do
us?
for like
Yeah.
literacy. Yeah, we
Love
should.
this. Can pull Katie in and help.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
buy a bunch. Anda told me if I don't use it by certain, I'm like, nope, I'll use it.
Okay.
Leave me alone. Get out of here, I'll find a way.
Cause I did the QR code.
Yeah.
We
Do
can
you have
buy
a
kids'
local
books.
bookseller in
Did you
this?
take a photo
area?
of the,
We usually, we've gone through Woodstock
Okay.
before, or Yankee Book
Yankee
Shop is
Book,
out,
okay.
and they give us a discount.
Okay.
Donna's got that kind of on
So
lockdown.
fabulous.
There you go.
Thank you for doing my thinking for, my brain is at that
I know
point.
you're so busy, I don't want to be like, Katie, when are we going to meet next? But we could meet over dirt or
Yeah.
something.
I'm good.
Thank you for
Over
doing
to
this.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, in the rain.
Are you in
Do you- And you start
I
having
think we're gonna be
events
able to do
coming up.
tomorrow afternoon. I don't think it's gonna rain in the afternoon.
Just in the morning when they're picking up trash. I was like, Henry, what's your class trip? And he was like, we're picking up garbage. I was like, well, we're doing that all day Saturday too, so giddy up.
Yeah.
Asset
Yeah.
manager for a family-owned
Great up day.
million-square-foot shopping center.
I love how ideas evolve here, particularly with Stockbridge and the Stockbridge parent, and then they just, the parent group, and how it just grows and grows and grows and grows.
So we had, did Blair reach out to you?
No,
Okay, so we had a PTO call last night,
Oh.
and basically, like, this is my first year on PTO, I've never done it before, and I was like, is there a way for next year that we can like forecast and solicit, like aggressively solicit people? And then Hallie wrote that great email today, did you see
Yeah,
that?
I did see that
I
one.
was like, so, like, she takes on so much responsibility, and I feel so badly about it, but, because I feel like if we put more energy and effort into making things
That sounds functional.
A
communicated faster and like with like more lead time and all that, then the return on investment would be great, because
I thought was great.
the number of people who came to the paint and stuff and were like, I wanna do this
Yeah.
again, I wanna do it
Alright,
again,
let's
and
do
like,
it.
we just don't
That's
have
great
anything to
feedback.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be awesome, so,
So you're saying
it was
you're
cool.
all
And
Okay.
we made money.
Oh my gosh,
Let's
we're
see where
doing
we
this
are.
for outreach to parents about
Actually,
attendance and the
before we do that,
So that would be great.
I did some
PTO
work over there in the corner.
Yeah.
Just read these real quickly, and then we can look at them, say yay or nay late after we've looked at your stuff. But these are things that are not, I don't know, that might be things that you have not thought of. And what I did was I went through the family survey and pulled that stuff out until we got to, what is your primary challenge in improving student learning? What school configuration, what is it getting at? Oh, that was from the, are you happy with the education that your child is receiving? The teacher part would be, what is your primary challenge? And then if you had a magic wand, you could change one thing.
I like that.
Those are
RSUD schools to make them better. Well,
No,
The magic word.
those
Yeah.
points are wonderful.
yeah, so how, do you want to just, one of you talk about what you talked about, and, or do we want to go, let's go question by question.
That's easy.
That's right. And everybody got to all of them.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's start with question number one.
Well, I guess, just off of yours,
Are you bringing it up? Linda?
I can, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I get that.
we thought it was important to get that demographic information
Yeah.
before question one. So like, how long have you been teaching at Stockbridge, how long have you been teaching?
Oh,
Or,
How
Stock-
long have
how
you
long
been
have you been teaching
here?
at Stockbridge, Rochester?
Yes,
demographic,
great point.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to know how long they've been teaching, period, too, because it's different if it's your first or second year here, or it's your first and second year in the profession, or whether it's your 10th and 11th year in the profession.
And how many years at RSUD
So,
was teaching?
and that helps us look at, like, what's your primary challenge? If it's classroom management, the first thing I'm looking at is how long have you been doing this job?
Yeah,
And those questions aren't provided, that information isn't provided when someone is hired? Like the resume?
It is for years teaching, yes.
Okay.
What I was saying for me, what's interesting is there's a group of us who have kind of been together since Rochester and Stockbridge have merged and or longer. And then there's a group of teachers that have kind of been hired within the last 1 to 3 years, and I think from reflecting on my own leadership, that effort initially when we came together to be more merged was very intentional, and now sometimes I'm like, this is just the way we do things, which works, but I'd be curious with those that are new to our teaching community. Like, I just want their feedback because I want to retain them. I don't want to have to go through.
but to Keith's
Is
question,
that fun?
it's
Are you hiring
anonymous,
all the time?
Yeah,
it's anonymous.
it is anonymous,
Yeah.
and that's also why I don't want to know what building they teach at, personally,
Fair.
because I could
Well, should
identify
we-
it if I really worked.
But you want them to be open and honest
Yeah.
when they answer this.
You'll be able
So
to
I get
identify
that.
me. I'll just say, you'll know it's me.
Just sign your name.
Well, she'll know. She'll just.
Just submit it twice.
So far.
So for the number one, we thought that was fine.
Here's-
Well, oh yeah, sorry, you're not ready.
We'll figure the rest of that, I'm just writing,
That was fine, the way it is, 1 to 10.
we'll fix that later.
Okay.
1 to 10, you,
Read question one.
I would just put that in groups.
And we said 1 to 5 in our group.
1 to 5?
First 5, over 5.
oh, for the teaching,
Yeah.
number you're teaching, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
All right, we'll
Oh,
come
I'm
to
sorry.
Yeah.
but we left question one in.
We did too.
The question in, but we shortened the choices, 1 to 5.
Sure.
Whatever
Whatever.
works, yeah.
Okay,
We don't care.
just so there wasn't
Oh,
as
I'm
much
sorry.
in between.
that.
Well, that's why when you said 5, I was like, ugh. Okay,
It's not does you feel, it's do you feel.
come on. Back
Should
to-
this be a 1 to 5, or 1 to 10, like
We
scale
said
as
yes or no,
well?
but then we wanted to put in like a why.
Explain.
Why would you, why would you choose?
Why do you feel that way?
Well, how about, what ideas do you have
Okay,
for increasing?
sure. Then there's a plan.
Mhm.
Say that again, Suzette, what ideas do you have for increasing? Or for-
Increasing the sense of community between the two schools.
We kind of had that too, because that's
What
three.
are ways we
Yeah.
can strengthen our sense of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Campuses.
So then do we need this next one? Choose all the ways?
We got rid of
We
that.
changed that to what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We.
That's because we had made a long list in the fact.
We just
Yeah.
didn't have
We
a question, we didn't know what
just-
option one
Yeah, we
was.
didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Well, our original conversation was like, just leave it open-ended. What are all the ways you
I-
think we
I
can
agree.
strengthen?
With what you just did for the previous question.
So we could just cut this one out
Yeah,
altogether.
cut question 3, right?
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's great.
since the other one
Word
answers it.
Love it.
We left number 4,
Same,
and we left number 5,
same,
Yep.
and we left number 6.
Yep.
yep.
And we got rid of number 7.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
All right.
I'm not, maybe I'm assuming.
I added though, I have to say, I added odds and ends, because I actually, seriously, that's an excellent form of communication. I look forward to being able to read it to know what's going on.
So, did you go back to my list?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I had communication, so I said, regular, consistent communication with families is essential.
Mm.
And I think one can say, as a teacher, what do you think are the best, what do you think is the best method, or the most
To
effective
communicate
method?
with family.
Yeah, I
Because we're
guess
looking
we
for
took it as,
things to
how is
do-
the faculty getting communicated to?
That's what we
Mm.
thought,
Because I'm always looking for something that, and that you can, a way you can communicate and use the same text or the same
Mm.
communication in 3 or 4 different formats, just to make it
Right.
easy. That it's, they have classroom,
yeah.
newsletters, weekly newsletters,
Yeah.
and then there's a school one, and then there's this and there's that.
So the reason we had this conversation and the reason I pushed back is in one of Jeannie's recent email letters, aside from the legislative thing, we are switching to an SU-wide new platform that's not Web to School. It's called Alma. And it has a platform for communication with parents instantaneous. So that's why I had said to this group, I'm not
Oh,
sure
so
if
you-
that's it, because I think everybody's going to be trained to start to use
Take that out.
It's not
That
applicable.
Right, I didn't want them to think they could, I didn't want to like give false
Yeah,
hope.
okay, get that right out.
Does that make sense?
That's-
False
that's
hustle.
rolling the wrong
is
way.
So we're taking
Okay,
out 7?
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we made number 8, number 7.
Yep.
We wanted for that one, would you be open to the RSUD board, blah, blah, blah. We wanted explained
Yeah,
We
your
did
choice.
too.
Yeah.
Explain your thoughts.
yeah, same.
That's exactly.
Hold on, let me get to the right one.
Alright.
Explain
So
your
think about this,
thoughts.
what if you reworded this, remember you're talking to staff, you're talking
Yeah.
to folks in the trenches. If the RSUD board explored restructuring school configurations, well, or ask for positives and negatives from them, or,
Sort of
I
like
think that
What are the pros and cons?
educational and social opportunities, I think the vast majority of your staff is gonna say, do it. And that's just because I know what they do for a living. But you want more from them.
Well, I want more from them, and I think you need to be stronger, not if the board, it should be as though the board is reviewing, restructuring, and whatever, whatever it is. So you want them to answer. So if they think the board is focusing on this, it's gonna be more of a reason for them to respond to this question. If it's just like, well, we may not, that's why you don't wanna use an if, you wanna say the board is.
Thoughts?
We always have been exploring, but
There you
the
go.
point is that doesn't mean we are going one
All I
direction or
said
another.
is,
And that's what-
the
yeah.
board is exploring, they're not saying what they're gonna do, but
Right.
that's why it's important for them to provide this feedback.
Right.
Or will it make teachers feel vulnerable and upset that things are being
If you're
talked
not
about without
vulnerable-
them being aware of it, and that disrupts their day?
But the
when
board's
they're
made
trying
no
to
secret
take
that
It's-
they're reviewing things.
It's just a fact that it's being explored, and just coming from a staff perspective, if you're
Yeah.
not feeling like, oh, I'm vulnerable, like you're not paying attention.
Okay.
So it's good to sort of be like, hey, this is going on. Like, to me, it's communication.
Right, tune in on the first
Right.
Monday, and you'll hear what the board's opinions are, what
Yeah,
they're
come and
doing,
show
and what
up.
they're thinking.
Find out, watch
I
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw
I hear
this
you,
out.
and I appreciate that, but I think it's okay.
Throw this out for discussion, because this was something we spent a lot of time on wording for community. And your staff, I mean, we've said, we never said the board is thinking this, and you did that intentionally on both the faculty and, the community and family survey. This is a small town. If you reword that in your staff, it will get out into the community, and then it will be, oh, well, they said this to us, but they're really gonna do something. So I would be really careful about, and I understand it's the same point you had before, and there's a piece of me that's with you, but in terms of just, it being consistent, I think if the board were to consider, or, is it, I don't know, I think we just have to think about, maybe I'm the one who's panicking now, so, anyway.
As a staff person, honestly, whether I'm open or not, it doesn't really matter. Like, I could be open to it, or I could be not open to it. I mean, I think, because I look at the board as the board is making decisions. I'm an employee, but I don't have, I whether I'm open to it or not, I can't stop it or change it. I
Here's
just-
your chances.
Well, you could,
I guess if I could explain my answer, but yeah.
you could also
Am I
just.
off base with that? I just.
No.
Oh, well, I think we'd appreciate the feedback on whether you answered yes or no, what your thoughts were.
Maybe you can just be direct and ask, what, in your opinion, what would be the best way to,
Could just say.
offer
should-
education?
Yeah,
And
should the RSUD board be exploring restructuring both school configurations if it expands educational and social opportunities for our students?
Yes,
Like, should they be exploring it? And here's why I think they should be
I
exploring it.
like that better. It's the would you be open? It's just like, oh,
I understand that it's different than the community one, but I think there's an educational lens that hopefully
right, that I can get.
folks can provide,
Okay.
just
I like that.
food for a little more active
Do you want
than
information
passive.
from the staff around school closure?
Oh, boy.
Okay, that's what you need to have. I just think if you word this correctly, you're not asking a different question. You're just asking them, what do you believe would be the best solution? Or the best way to offer education? You may have teachers who say, and this is crazy, but, because it's their jobs, but there may be people who say, we shouldn't, choice should be going down to 6, or, all sorts of things. And they've got a different lens, but I think you can ask this question where you've opened it up, the possibilities of answers, in a way that would not cause trouble in the community. Misunderstanding, it's a different question.
That if you say close campuses, that's worse than what I was proposing. I'm fine with that if you want to take that part of the line, but I think that's a more volatile.
I think that's a break through the window.
Or we could,
Okay, I'm gonna, because of time.
or we could make this one and make it open-ended and say, what should the RSUD board be considering when exploring restructuring both school configurations if it expands educational?
That's great.
Yeah, sorry, it just took me a second. And then it's open-ended
And it sounds
and they
real
can
that
just,
it's
it's not,
considered.
yeah.
Write that down really fast.
Oh, shoot, what did I just say?
What should the
What
RSUD
should-
board
Thank you.
be considering
RSUD board.
Yeah.
Because I think,
Be
it'll
considering
be good
when
information to
examining
have, but it's a
restructuring
small
both school
town.
configurations?
What do you, wait, what?
like that.
Some people might say one.
If the teacher goes out and says,
Instruction goes
oh,
out.
no, our
Expense,
survey said they were thinking about closing.
And then
Yeah,
just leave
then-
it.
Then we're all dead.
Yeah.
And then it gets the explain your thoughts, but
There you go.
it's more from the lens of like, hey, here's what you need to hear from us as teachers.
That's fine.
It could be 6th grade belongs at middle school, or it could be.
Right,
Yeah.
it could be all
any
sorts of
number
things,
They might have all sorts of ideas,
right? Like, put a different lens on it.
The bottom line, yeah, it's a job, but the bottom line is what's best for the kids. Like, that's actually what teachers' jobs
Yeah.
should be about, in my mind. But,
I think the facility one with mine was just, you know, more specific.
We left it.
We did too.
Which
We left
had,
it too.
I'm satisfied with our schools facility in red.
Schools rather than
Yeah,
towns.
town.
Schools, yeah.
Plural.
Shoot.
We wanted to explain, oh, I'm sorry,
No, you're good.
on what was formerly known as 10, we wanted an explain your
In
answer.
the demographics at the very beginning, are you asking where folks are assigned?
No, because I worry,
We got rid of that question.
Okay.
I worry people, it is small
That's
enough that
fine.
I'd be able to
Okay,
figure it
get
out.
But then we need
Figure
to
it out.
know-
So this one, go back.
Yeah,
Which school, because they're different
satisfied.
facilities.
If you ask it like that, how are you gonna know
Yeah.
if they say no, which campus we're talking about?
Should just be like Stockbridge and Rochester. with the
So
same
go back to mine. I don't know if I have a better idea.
All right, the shared
I
staff.
was thinking about it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, just ways, places, facilities could be improved.
What are ways the
What are-
facilities and grounds could be
Are there-
improved
Yeah.
instead of like,
Agreed.
Open-ended.
Are there
So make it
You're still gonna know,
open-ended.
probably.
facilities?
Well,
Well, should you
once they
list
give you-
Stockbridge and then should you list Rochester?
She doesn't want to do that.
Because they're shared staff, I see both.
But if you leave it open-ended, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Somebody's like,
Right,
the gym needs this,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
but at least I'm not the one saying to them, hey, to get out of the faculty meeting today, you need to fill this survey out, and it comes live to my computer.
I know where you,
Right.
And we'll have another chance to look at this. So what on earth are we paying?
That's right, we will have one more.
Okay.
Okay.
See, is it important that there is an elementary school in each town? We want to explain your answer.
We took it out.
we took it out.
That'll be covered by the,
Look at you, look at you, you're just floating over there.
We added a question right here. What resources you feel you need for next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Find
Yeah, that
elaborated-
question too.
We elaborated a little more.
okay, well, that's misleading because your budget's already in. It's already decided.
Doesn't have to say for next year, just.
So.
What
Yeah.
resources?
So I
You
would
have the
say
right
in the
resources.
future, or, go back to my little list.
I do like, what is your primary
Financial
challenge in
challenge, yeah.
improving
I
student
thought that's
learning?
good.
And put an understanding of the budget process.
That is
Oh,
listed.
you can put it as a sub-question to that.
Yeah,
Wasn't there a question about budget?
like, do you know about it,
know about
You know about it, that was it.
or understand it, or something?
But there are some things you can get that are not budgetary, like
Grants.
time.
$1,000,000 word.
Yeah, if we're gonna ask about this upcoming school year, I think you'd be really careful about how you word it, because
Right,
your money
I
has
can't
already been
change
decided
anything.
and allocated.
Yes,
Say
but-
next
but-
year,
There's
you
some,
can just-
But
Just
some
leave it
flexibility in that,
And
but.
for
there is a
example,
flexibility that the budget is just a guess.
right.
And how we spend
Yes.
it during the year
We can
is up to
flex
the
it.
board,
There's some
To-
flexibility in that.
to
and there are
adjust.
like science kits that can come from the state of Vermont that are free. Like, it's just whether or
For
not people
now.
know how to grab a hold of that stuff.
Right.
is part of it.
So maybe, what was the question? What resources?
What
do you-
additional resources?
What additional
That's exactly what you said, so,
Right.
not exactly what you said.
do you feel you need?
Yeah.
And then just leave it like that, and don't
Yep.
put a timeline on it?
And mine will be all caps.
Well,
Time.
now that's out of the blue from. can
Do we
fix
need to
this.
move it up
Out
under
of facility.
the
Yeah,
budget
we-
question?
We can move it someplace, because that's just.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
Maybe, if the director has her license.
Where's the magic wand go?
Yes.
I
I
love
knew that last, but we could, don't worry about that.
Well, now
We wanted
Is
to
that-
tinker with
that's
the
similar to this
phrasing
one.
of formally question 11. Are your students receiving the education you hoped for? We wanted to change it to they deserve. Is that
Did
we say something?
Are your students
we got
receiving?
rid of that.
appropriate? Did you get rid of it?
Well, where we replaced it with something.
Okay.
I
Maybe
think we
that's
got rid
lemon.
of it. We got rid of it.
I
I
think we
would like
got
to get
rid
rid
of
of that too, that's what I
Which
said.
one are we looking at?
11.
Sorry,
Are
I'm
your
getting to
students
this
receiving
one.
the education you hoped for?
I do like Suzette's question though, to change it to what's your primary challenge in
Yeah.
improving student learning?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Could we switch it to that instead?
Yeah.
You guys with us?
Yes.
Swapping out 11
Loud
for
and
what's your
clear.
primary challenge.
Yep, got it.
That's good.
Thank you. Yep. Any addition?
And improving student learning.
Thank you.
It's a good one.
I think we got rid of 12 and 13.
Yes, get rid of 12 too.
Yeah, because 14 and 15 kind of helped address.
Yeah, that's,
We
Okay.
got rid of
I'm
13,
kind of
kept 12.
accept that.
so I'm just gonna,
Questions?
And then the
I don't
wand,
know
we
what
need to
I'm
add the
saying.
wand.
I like
But-
the wand.
I actually like 12. Sorry.
Additional concerns or questions?
We've got the successes, we've got the desires for improvement, but it might be another question that has nothing to do with that. It might just be a question, like allow space for that. People could just say no, NA, you know.
Yeah,
want
just
to-
open up it, yeah. What didn't we have?
I might go off and enjoy that question, just saying.
is there a way to reword it that it doesn't just a bunch of people, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but just saying that if the schools were, one school was to close or whatever, is my job in jeopardy? I mean, that's,
Well, it could be a question, and then you at least hear that.
right.
Then you know that that's a
Concern
concern,
somebody's.
right? I mean, fair.
Mhm.
I mean, or unless you don't want to know.
In 10 characters or less.
Be efficient.
I might do a QR code with a website.
Or, and then,
Send you a link.
and then on the other side, with that magic wand, there's the magic wand question.
Yeah.
So what can,
We agreed to get rid of the information question.
What kind of
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
And we kept
14?
current successes, and then we reworded the next one. What ideas do you have to strengthen and improve our unified district?
can you, okay. Would it be okay to add ideas? What
Additional questions.
Questions, concerns, or ideas you might have?
Sure.
I don't know, I'm just, it feels negative.
And not
so
to
It feels
the
like an invitation to
Regarding, okay.
go at it, and, yeah.
Why don't you just say, please share any additional feedback you might have regarding the Rochester-Stockbridge Unified School District? 'Cause, I mean, questions and concerns is negative. But ideas meaning,
So get rid of questions and concerns and replace it with ideas? Is that what you're saying?
Or just
with
feedback.
feedback.
Or
Are we asking for improving the Rochester-Stockbridge
Regarding.
Unified School District?
Just
I mean, are you
regarding.
looking for questions or, because questions kind of prompt response. So like, are we looking for,
True.
are we looking for questions or are we looking for,
I can't answer that, but I would like the space to be able to ask questions.
Yeah.
is what- Yeah.
Well, I think the idea of questions or concerns or ideas is open-ended enough for people to give us some feedback.
okay.
But down here, we have desires and improvement ideas and strategies.
Maybe move those questions.
So you're morphing them into one? Is that what's happening and I missed the memo?
No,
No.
no, I think we're still on that.
Got it.
Maybe
We're
not.
just a little out of order
That's
probably
fine.
from a final draft.
Could that be after we ask successes?
Successes
and
and,
You said till
improvements?
7
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm
Suzette.
thinking, I'm
Wait,
thinking, you added you added concerns and ideas, but the next question down that we can't see has that. So
Right.
I just think questions is enough.
okay. Yeah,
Not
not
necessarily
concerns or
concerns.
No,
ideas.
because that comes later. We
Yeah.
have
Oh, good point.
desires, improvements,
yeah.
ideas, strategies.
It can be broken out.
Right.
We
I-
all missed the memo.
We all did, everyone did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You had it,
Oh.
yeah.
After
Yeah.
the next two questions.
Okay,
So we kept this one, the current successes.
Yep, perfect.
And then the next one we changed to what ideas do you have to strengthen and improve our unified district?
And can we say, instead of the unified, can we say for? Just a change of a word? Or am I misunderstanding it? Desires and improvement
No, you're not.
strategies for the unified district?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the beginning?
What ideas do you have to strengthen and improve our unified district, we didn't have 4, because we changed improvement.
And then do you want to use the magic wand question? Totally up to you. It's just kind of, it's a fun way to sort of get the.
It might be, yeah, it might, you might get some creative ideas
Yeah.
and playful
Right.
thoughts, yeah. Sure, why not? But then I'm gonna really want one.
I'm gonna go steal them from my nieces and just bring them.
Perfect.
Just don't tell them they ended up here.
Taste it.
They'll hunt you down for them. They don't let those go willingly.
You're a good auntie.
Well, I get the obnoxious ones to go to my
You have to
sister.
finish it. It's incomplete.
If you had to make my,
Oh, Papa, no.
Earlier, did we decide how you were gonna I'm changing the subject. How you were gonna
What would be?
push out the community survey? Keep typing.
I think a front porch forum is a good idea.
Front Porch Forum.
Yeah.
The
I-
newsletter
yeah.
goes out tomorrow.
Computers at the school board
Yeah.
vote,
Yeah,
the
that's
school
a good
budget
idea.
vote.
The school board vote, I like that one.
Was the front porch forum really one of the higher ways to be communicated to for
Yeah,
responses?
you know, it's pretty, which one is it? Sorry. Yeah, Front Porch Forum was like 33
Wow.
people picked emails and posts from the town clerk, and 28 picked.
All those you
from-
keep.
Yeah.
It's too hard to do.
Yeah,
Then I gotta return it. I leave a paper trail.
you know, in the Herald, we could send.
How about a QR code in the Herald?
Didn't it
Yeah.
go out?
Huh?
Did it already go out in the Herald?
I don't know. if it
No,
was
I don't
in
think
the-
that happened.
Yeah, I think the postcard
Um,
went out first.
Vacation happened in the yeah, anyways.
So
And the
the
personal
Herald
one.
went out today?
Yeah, but we could get it in there for next.
I think it'd be good to do again, I mean, I have a group of women that are, older than I am, that I'm in a group chat with.
Yeah.
So I chatted them and I said, have any of you, and none of them have.
Mm.
Okay,
And they're all pretty prominent, like Rochester women.
yeah.
And one of them was like, send it again. I'm like, oh, okay, it'll come out again. And
What if-
Yeah, so I think it's super important that we push it.
Did they have ideas
Oh, gosh,
on
they'll have
ways
plenty.
to send it out again?
I can ask that.
I think that would be helpful.
What if we put it up at like the cafe?
Yeah.
It's like on the wall at the cafe,
Mhm.
and with the QR code, it's on the wall at Max,
Outside
it's
Max,
on,
yeah.
yeah.
Post office.
Post office,
Store.
yeah.
Skip aren't all those places.
She wanted, one of them wanted me to email her
Yeah,
the survey, so,
can send one.
yeah. Will you send me another one, just?
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah,
have to dig?
yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry to add to your.
Yeah, no.
Like, we should put it in the community meals
So
shed.
people could.
Great idea.
Oh,
Like a scan.
yes.
People can
Where?
scan.
There's a bottle drive on
Like
Saturday.
community
Yes.
thing.
Oh, there's
Green
one
up day,
there. Oh.
green up day.
Oh, I'm greening up on
So we
Saturday.
could, I could give you.
Yes, I have at the table.
I can give you
Alright.
paper copies too.
Do that, do that. I know
I'm
if it
sure
rains,
Griff's
I'll
would
them
put
in
it
a box or
up,
something.
like, I feel like we could
Yeah,
send
that's a great
something.
idea. We can take care of that tomorrow.
Yeah, that, we have a lot of ideas floating.
Libraries.
People
Send it to
who we
libraries.
are gonna hold responsible for doing it. Good?
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Just check.
Library.
I don't have.
If
any
you
good
send them
stuff.
a poster, the sheet that they can print
Yep,
and put it up.
okay. Yeah, we have that
Will
one.
Erica help with this, or do you want my help? Like,
Sure.
send, if I can help, you know?
Can you help me flip the postcard? Can you help me with Canvas?
I'll try, yeah, I'll be tomorrow.
Because
Ask
I
Blair
want
to
for
do
that
it.
one for the community.
Ask Blair to do it.
Oh, yeah,
Ask Blair, she'll do it.
yeah, Blair will do it for us.
Town clerk
All I did
is
for the
number
community
one.
conversation was just print the front of the backup postcard. So
Oh.
it's this way, but I think if it's gonna be poster,
It would be good to have both showing, okay.
or it's just mine, sorry.
She does like all of the PTO flyers. She's like the
She's
flyer.
the little boy of the community.
Oh, okay.
So, we good?
Radio.
Nobody picked radio. It's just
School board
enforced.
meetings all way down there too.
Yeah.
Code.
8, probably the 8 board members.
That's probably.
We're good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Fabulous work once again. We've got two, one's already out, one's going out, and this is our last one.
Yes.
Lindsay and Mary, I just did it again.
It's
You
okay.
don't even hear it because it's been my entire life.
Well, that's okay. I'm spelling my name wrong. It's like, I always say, if you're my friend, you have to know how to spell it. And you're Mary, right?
Last time I checked.
Before the meeting.
We'll go back through the faculty and staff and check and whatever, so you'll have something really hard and concrete to respond to next time. with the goal of that being approved at the next meeting. And then I'm gonna start working on little pieces, just the framework of the report, show you what that's gonna look like. So one last question, this report is due to the board, their first meeting in June. We can do that, I have to say, and it might be my red-eye brain, that I was halfway thinking about asking Jamie if we could be in this at the second. Do you guys meet once a month? Okay, never mind, we'll be there.
Yeah, we have
Is
to.
the
That's
June
it.
meeting a wagon wheel meeting?
Yeah,
That's gonna be at
It's a
South
little bit
Royalton.
later now. There's, normally it's the first Monday of the month, but it sounds like in June, we're gonna have a wagon wheel where all the boards are in one place together.
Okay, maybe I'll call
You should call Jamie
Call
and
Jamie about that, 'cause that-
see. I don't know what
yeah,
date
yeah.
that is, but I had heard that out of.
Because I don't
admin
want to,
meeting
you know,
too.
I think we're right where we sort of should be.
They don't meet in
Every once in a
July.
I
while
was
we
gonna say,
get
what doesn't need in July?
July.
A
so
bump.
that's
Correct.
not-
Wow.
And I don't want to,
So that pushes everything
I don't
into
want-
August if you don't make June.
Yeah.
Right, but I think it gives us a little, I think that, because the first Monday in June is June 2nd, so I think, with this wagon wheel, it'll be a little bit later, so it gives us a little bit of a little
Well-
bit more time
Right.
to get
well,
that
and
done.
then if it, you know, if it's not an appropriate place for it to be presented that night, we can still have the whole thing finished and it can be presented in August.
Mhm.
I'm trying to avoid summer, I'll be honest with you. I worked on the red thing all last summer and I don't know if it's, because all my life I've
Gets
been on the school calendar. I would sit and be working in July going, why am I working? It's July. So anyway, it was really, and it's hard, people are, you know, have different
Yeah.
commitments. So it's really, I wanted it, this part, so all the meat will be done. And if we don't actually present it until August, that's not, I don't think that's a big deal, but I'll check in with him. See what he wants to do. All right?
Yep.
Yay, yay. Nice work, okay. Close us down there, Doug.
Adjourn.
Yeah, we're adjourned.